Okay, we're red. I don't know what you did. What did you do?
How many selectmen does it take to turn on the camera?
FM. Okay, we will open this meeting of March 27th, 2014.
Why am I sitting?
Time is, yeah, why are you down there? Oh, because you miss Al. The time is 4:10. Let the record show that Selectman LaPlante is not present. He's on vacation, and we are awaiting the arrival of Selectman Scanlon shortly. All right, first order of business is minutes, I believe.
I'd like to bring the minutes of March 20th, 2014 to the floor for discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Page 2. Selectman Justman made a motion to reappoint Selectman Dawson as ex officio. We should get rid of the because
Yep.
I was there like 6 years ago, but I don't think that counts.
So it would be a point.
It'd
Now,
be a
that's
point.
true.
You didn't write about the coin toss.
Well, the Secretary of State approves of that.
I know, it's just still baffling.
After much discussion and the flipping of a coin,
Jessamine lost.
I got to call it. I mean, there's nobody to blame but myself.
Talking about park planning?
The planning board.
Planning Board.
Okay, planning. Right. Okay.
I meant to ask you, when are your recycling committee meetings? Are they the same day?
They go all over the road, dearie. They're all over the road. Marge calls them basically when, like, we'll have one before town yard sale, which is the end of April. So we'll have one in the next few weeks. We have to get the map together and
Will you
that
ask
kind of
her to
thing.
notify me?
But
So
I will make certain that
I've
you're
always felt
notified.
alternates should attend meetings, even if they don't participate, so they know what's going on.
Yep.
Chief, I was just reading the minutes. Were there any issues Sunday without a detail for the farmer's market? I didn't get any phone calls at all.
Yeah, no. It was
Okay.
quiet.
I went down for about half an hour and sat there and
And it was just
watched
watching,
and
yep. No problems.
No, I mean, went out and directed some cars out, but I think he just felt that needed to do something,
Yeah.
you know? There wasn't that much to do.
Sometimes if we're at a spot, people think we're gonna do it, so they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is this guy gonna let me out, or where if we're not there?
Did you talk with Bob Hoey, Catherine?
I saw him, but I didn't have a chance to speak to him.
About the road committee, next time you talk to him, you've got time constraints or...
Yeah, he hasn't been able to attend. Make a note.
Page 4, under Coop. there should probably be a hyphen in between the O's, but then there's part of a parentheses that I don't see the other half.
Oh, that was a mistake, that's why.
All right, and then you go to they at 3-year terms.
Joyce just pointed that out to me.
Oh, okay, all right. We've got another coop, a couple sentences down. Windy Housing Coop.
Co-op, it should be co-op. Short for cooperative.
So what do you do, put a hyphen between the two O's?
Yeah, because that spells coop, like as in chickens.
On the bottom of 6 and the top of 7, in 2008, the increase was put in the budget, and the way it was put in the budget was for the increase to go in effect in July. Yes. I don't know if that's quite accurate.
No, the selectmen elected to have it begin July, right?
In 2008?
Well, no, this is,
Oh.
in 2008, we've been doing it when we've been doing wage increases. We've always, in the past, we've been doing it in July. I think it needs to specify that it's been a past practice when they've been doing wage increases. However, selectmen are elected officials. I think that was
employees.
part of the discussion, which differs from what we're trying to say.
We're not employees.
I think the point of the discussion was that at town meeting, when the resident got up and said, we want to give the selectmen a raise, and said, I would like to increase it by $3,000. They had planned that $3,000 was going to be from July to December, because it's been past practice that all employees start in July in their raises. However, being an elected official, the selectmen and town clerk tax collector, they start in January. So we have to word this a little bit different.
Do we have
Then
to
you can
add
say that the selectmen have elected in lieu of, I don't want to say error, but it's because it's not an error. But after long discussion, the selectmen, it was the consensus of the selectmen to start in July.
That's in the last, on page 7, the last.
That is on page 7. Because the intent of the motion made on the floor of town meeting was for a $100 per month raise.
Right.
Even though the raise,
But
the amount of money would
was
have only
incorrect.
been $50 had it gone back to January.
Right.
So as a consequence of that, we elected to just begin in July
Right.
instead.
Right. So I think that probably, it just, I don't know how to word it.
I don't either.
Because I did that part verbatim.
Oh. All right. I'm just thinking if somebody 5 years from now reading this, they're not going to understand what we're really meant.
Well, you said, Chair Constantino said as elected officials, increases are for the calendar year and should go back to January 1 of 2014, not July, as has been past practice, because they're elected officials, not employees.
Okay, so then take out the sentence in 2008, the increase was put in. Just take that
Yeah.
sentence out, because you have already explained it in the, Chair Constantino said as an elected official, it goes back to January 1, unlike what the maker of this motion had anticipated, that it would start in July 1. Joyce explained that it was what past practice has been. And then you could just say, Joyce explained the total amount that they can spend is $21,000 in that line item, and then it makes sense
Okay.
if we just take that out. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that, yeah.
Page 9, oh, gosh, where is it? There it is. Near the top, it says with waste zero, it just should be 4. It says row. Hold on. Did we get any confirmation from, Jean Wright? Because she kept saying she was certain, or not certain, but she was pretty certain that we would not have to increase our low-income housing because of the CDBG grant.
She was going to send us
She
some
wasn't
information.
positive. She was pretty certain. I'd like her to be positive, because that would definitely affect my vote.
All right, page 4, is that in the minutes, or is that what you said?
It's on page 5 of the minutes.
Okay.
She's not sure if we have to adopt, there was a process you go through with the low-income housing stuff. She wasn't sure about having to adopt it again. And then she said, it says Ms. Wright said she is pretty certain that Tilton would stay where they are at and would not have to add any housing. Well, she wasn't certain. She's just pretty certain.
No, she did not get back to me on that. Printer working up here yet?
Nope.
How come?
We don't have the necessary cartridges for the ink. Al needed to have one for his, so went down there, and I've been copying to the copy room. He's ordered them. They'll be coming in.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of March 20th, 2014 as corrected.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you want to wait on selectmen's reports and go into?
Well, I have a number of questions that I could ask.
Okay.
All right, my first question is, how come we didn't plow the sidewalks at Lockmere after the last storm last week? The roads were plowed, certainly, but the sidewalks were not attended to. And that's the first time that's happened, and I'm not sure whether it just,
No, actually, it's not the first time.
well, in my experience, and I've lived there for 12 years,
During, was it the February storm?
it was put off during the February storm.
Right.
Because we had a broken machine and whatever.
It melted.
No, they had to bring up the bucket loader to chip it away in February. 'Cause,
No, I meant this last storm.
well, it hasn't melted.
Oh, it hasn't?
No, there's
I
the
stopped
thing.
walking it because you can't.
There's the thing, it hasn't melted, and eventually it will, but people who walk ordinarily would be on the sidewalk are now out in Silver Lake Road. So
Don't know where it lies on our list of priority with the sidewalks. Do you,
it's
Joy?
last.
Okay, well, that's why.
Yeah, but now we're talking about 10 or 11 days since the last snow event, and it hasn't been plowed. I was just curious what the deal was, that's all. So that's to you, Joyce.
I didn't sign. I didn't sign.
There was a story in the Manchester Union Leader that there's a bill in the legislature to increase the amount of time necessary for public meeting notices from 24 to 72 hours.
Really?
Indeed. I sent a letter to, or a message to my state Senate representative saying that I felt that this could impose undue hardship sometimes when you have to have a meeting. It's not that we do it ordinarily, but sometimes you have to. So then what? So I just thought I'd make you aware of it, and I had given the story to Catherine. And that's pretty much that, I guess. Did we ever do anything about the fire warden?
No, we were going to discuss it. Oh, wait, well, I spoke with him, so I'm just going to tell you what
Okay,
my conversation with him was, but I was going to wait until John was here.
okay, well, we can wait.
What time are you leaving?
5:30-ish? Yeah, 5:30, he'll be here before that.
Yeah, but we
No
have
doubt.
someone coming in at 5, so maybe I should tell you, and then I'll tell him again.
Yep.
Okay.
Tell me.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I talked to him Monday. He had left a message on my phone, so I called him back. And he thought that I wanted to be reviewed on the duties and responsibilities, and I explained to him that it's because I knew the duties and responsibilities that there was a problem. So I explained it to him that, I was very candid that I felt that even though he was quite capable of the other responsibilities, that he didn't know the area. And since we don't have designated campgrounds, we have areas in the backwoods that young people use and adults use on a regular basis. Not marked, some private properties, some off the range roads, et cetera, et cetera. And asked him how he was going to familiarize himself with this and expressed my concerns, as I said to you guys, that, there's a lot of fires out there that occur in these backwoods areas, and because they can't get to them, people's homes burn down.
Potentially.
So he's very willing to learn what he needs to know. My concern was time. I didn't want to fault him for being a newcomer, but he is. It's plain
Yeah,
and
that's-
simple.
yeah.
He is, and he doesn't
Certainly.
know the area. It was hard because he's very affable.
He is.
He's just so anxious to be part of the community and know these things. And I told him I would report back my conversation with him to you guys. And, if the board voted to appoint him fire warden, I'd be calling him later on, maybe a couple of months, and see what he's been doing to familiarize himself with these areas.
Yeah. I'm curious as to any names that spring to mind that would be up to the task right out of the gate, because me personally, I think a couple, 2, 3, 4 months lag time in this position, I don't know if we've been doing it all that well up to this point.
Well, and that was the other thing I asked him. I said, what was the process that took place to appoint? And he said, well, it's always been the fire chief. Well, it hasn't always been the fire chief.
Hasn't.
That may be something they adopted recently.
That might be
which-
something he was told or something. Yeah, you
Right,
know.
so that, that could be their new policy, however, it's not their authority, it's our authority.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to go there too much with him. So, if we want to change it, we'd have to go through a process of putting it out there for people. You know what I mean? Looking for
It
applicants.
doesn't pay anything, does it?
I don't know. I didn't even inquire. I
It's
don't-
interesting, I never saw a line item that
There
would,
probably is something, it probably isn't much, but there might be.
Didn't he say that they issue the fire permits?
Yes. But those fire permits don't have to come from a fireman.
No, they're issued to the department.
Pardon?
They're issued to the department.
This is a Forest Service position. And they issue permits for campfires. I think the fire department issues permits for, if I'm going to burn down some brush or something.
controlled burns
Yeah,
or...
Controlled burns.
They do the fire permits. They do the fire permits for your burning in your fire pits and things like that. They do all of those.
It's all in the same permit. I mean,
That's-
you just check off what it is you're
But
doing.
it's still, I know I can sit here and tell you a lot of communities that it's somebody that's not associated with the fire department. So nevertheless,
I don't think it is on the same permit.
Well, I would certainly like
It
to
says
see
seasonal,
somebody
non-seasonal.
capable appointed to the position, or somebody who's capable of becoming capable.
if we weren't going to agree to this appointment, there would definitely be some time lapsing. If we weren't going to agree to this appointment, I mean, I could sit here and name off names in the community of people I know of those
Well, we-
places, and some of them are on the fire department, some of them have retired from the fire department, so.
But Mike
Come up with
has,
a list,
but Mike has done it in the past for us.
and Brad has done it too.
I know, but Mike is a resident and he knows the area. But I'm just thinking that perhaps maybe, can we just do like a 6-month appointment? Is it a year?
I don't know. I
Well,
didn't
we
look
could
that
appoint
far.
Mike for the year, and he could train the chief if they wanted to do it that way.
I think it's a valid point. I mean, he doesn't really know the area. And one time I went on a trip with Dave Wadley looking at all the old graveyards. I never knew part of Tilton had. So seriously, I never knew that was even Tilton.
There's a lot of old-growth pine forests with pine needles and broken branches. One spark in any of those places, and we're talking about
And I think that that's really
big
a
problem.
valid point. I think it's a valid
Conflagration.
point, and although I think he's extremely conscientious, and I know that he'll be very anxious to learn and do it, we have to really keep the best interests of the town of Tilton at heart.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think for now, it probably would be best suited for us to get someone in there that's familiar with the town, and then next year do the chief. Because then it's, he's more familiarized with the town. I mean, it's not his
He's got a
fault.
lot of
He's brand new.
responsibilities he has to
Exactly.
learn in the short term.
Right.
Well, the other thing he could do is, and I didn't suggest this to him, he may not know if they were available, but he could go over to Billy's and get a USGS map. It's a topo map. It's going to show him all the little brooks, the topography, and some of the guys that know could go in there and say, okay, see this is, Range Road off of School Street, this area, Gulf Brook, you ought to be aware of, and yada, yada.
Yep.
And they could mark it on that, and then he could go, and look at the areas.
Yep.
Now,
But there's
some-
still a learning curve on this stuff.
There is.
And if Mike already knows it, if he's capable and
I don't even know if Mike Robinson knows all of it.
well, there you go. So,
So I just said his name because he's been,
He's definitely, but he would definitely know where to go for the resource.
Yeah.
And maybe Mike Robinson could assist him in connecting him with people who know. So,
We
I
should
don't know.
probably talk to Mike Robinson and
I mean,
find out.
since we don't have a full board, I would
Right.
suggest that we wait.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't think it has to be done this week, but it
And
just
maybe
concerns
somebody
me.
could have a conversation with Mike Robinson, or, you know,
Okay.
Well, I can call him.
would you? Pat said she'd call him.
I'll call him.
Let me see. There's going to be a co-op meeting, operating committee. There was a co-op operating committee meeting at the beginning of the week. And we discussed the monies that were supposed to come back after the,
Is this something that John should know?
yeah, but you guys got to know this because we're short of time.
Well-
The timing being, well, I'll wait for him because I got other things on here.
Mike, you got here, what, a quarter of last week?
20 minutes of, yeah. The Lakes Region Master Plan is coming to fruition, the draft version of it. And I am going to start sending to the Board of Directors the various chapters, transportation, housing, the public safety, and so on and so forth, so you can start familiarizing yourself with it. The Lakes Region Master Plan is a function of the legislature. We have to have this done, so even though they don't provide, this is another case of downshifting, they don't provide any monies for it, which how you get to that futures thing, because we had to go and get money. And this futures, and I don't know that much about that organization, but to the best of my knowledge, they have no input whatsoever. I've never seen any representatives, or I think it was a grant. But be that as it may, I'm going to send it to you. If you have suggestions, get them back to me so that I can bring them up. In a month, we're going to be doing this again. At the beginning of June, we'll be submitting the draft to the Nashua Planning Commission. There's a number of regional planning commissions, and the Nashua Planning Commission, it's just like the Lakes Region Planning Commission. They were the grantee. They got a grant, and we are the sub-grantees. So everything goes back to Nashua, and then Nashua consolidates it and sends it to the legislature. So if there's changes that you want to see or additions that you would like to see, by all means, make note of them and get them back to me once I get this information to you. And that one, the dry well on Hill Road. Dry well on Hill Road has not subsided at all. It started to melt. It's not a sheet of glass over there, although there is a lot of ice in Mr. Descoulis's driveway and the driveway next door. Also in the driveway of the gentleman who we went and watched about his driveway washing away. There's no erosion in that driveway at this point. Just thought I'd give you an update of what's going on Hill Road, and then I figured dry well, right? I go over to 3M. And Manville Road is, it's got a lot of sand on it and whatever, but it's much better than in years past, quite frankly. I don't know what they're doing different, but it's bumpy because of the sand and whatever, but not that big a thing. And quite frankly, the fog pond, I like to refer to it, not frog, fog, was just a little thing of water over on the edge. At this point, it's not the problem that it has been
Wait until
sometimes.
this weekend.
Well, and after the rain, I'm going to go back. See, I wanted to go now, knowing that we were going to get rain events in the next few days, and then go on Monday to
Right.
see what it looks like then, see what the
Also
difference
do
is.
Parker Brook
I've been watching it.
with the rain this weekend.
Yeah.
No obstructions.
And there's
In our
going to be no place for that water to go, or for it to drain.
Yep.
The rest of this stuff probably should wait for John to show up.
I have the answer on the sidewalks, Joe.
Really?
Yeah, medium priority is Mechanic Street, east to Bittern Lane, Silver Lake Road, then River Road, then Church Street, and then west along Route 3 to Silver Lake. So they're medium priority.
Does that mean they don't get done?
No.
When was the
Means
last-
others get
when
done
was the last
first.
snow event? Been over 10 days.
I want to say it was like Friday or Saturday. Skiing on Sunday was excellent. Best skiing of the season.
So, yeah, but when we got 10 inches of snow or whatever, we were only supposed to get 2, and then we got 8 or what have you. The snow was still there from that storm. And none of those sidewalks down at that end of Lockmere were clear. So I was just curious as to why, whether it got forgotten or they got busy doing something else, because people asked me down in the neighborhood, and so they expect me to have an answer for them eventually. That's all.
One of the problems with those sidewalks down there, it is a village area, it's a densely populated area, and there is a post office there.
Yeah.
And the ADA laws will tell you that we have to maintain and keep those sidewalks clear to those type of municipal buildings.
Yep.
You know, post offices, clinics, hospitals, schools, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Well, there's a post office there. So,
Well, Mr. Bonneville clears in front of the post office, but that does not address the sidewalks leading up to it.
well, that's right, those people that live in that hamlet should be able to
lot
walk
of
through their
people
post
walk the road.
office. A lot of them walk to the post office.
Yes, they walk to the post office, they walk to church. They walk up to the little convenience store at the end of the road. They just go on walks, and they're out in the road.
But the law says that
Indeed it does.
it's a
huh,
higher
Catherine?
priority than medium. And that was our mistake. when we-
Well, the medium is a relative term, because we have to do the school children's sidewalk so that they can safely walk to school. And then after that, I can see that,
Well, it needs to be up on that list. We have sidewalks on that list that aren't typical routes for school children,
yeah,
but we should rethink that.
Well, when you look at the high priority, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, can I help you?
Well, I just came here and I'm supposed to walling off the stage.
Yep.
Here to put that fire alarm system.
We're in the middle of a selectmen's meeting right now.
Yeah, the last communication I had with Brian was to let you know that we didn't have a design, you wanted a floor plan, and I said, no, there was no floor plan. And at the town meeting, they didn't vote the money for it.
Okay, so there's nothing's happening with it yet, so,
No?
okay, just let me know if
Okay.
anything changes.
Okay, we will. All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
Yep.
Is that me?
There's 12 on the high priority. And looking at these, are all the downtown and the ones going to the school, and then the medium priorities are Lockmere.
Right, and then the other one is, I mean, we have a post office in Winnisquam, but there aren't any sidewalks to it. There's sidewalks in Winnisquam, but there's no sidewalks to the post office. In Lockmere, the difference is, those sidewalks make a complete circuit and go to the post office.
yep.
So, that needs to be reconsidered in its position, and they do need to get plowed.
Well, when the sidewalk machine was down, broken, non-functioning, they ended up doing the sidewalks a few days after the storm, but they did them. They haven't done them this time.
But a lot of that sidewalk, which I don't like, they'll use the plow, and they will take the snow blower down to do them. But I think it got away from them.
Yeah. Well, they haven't done anything with it anyway.
It got away from them.
And I didn't call Mr. Allen. Last time I called him, and he came down and made sure it was done, but we have a liaison, and so I just thought I would bring it to everybody's attention. All right.
All right. Joyce, we have 20 minutes, so I don't know if you want to... Or do we...
Paul, did you want to go over the FYI and the committee appointments that are in there? Want to do that?
That's a good idea.
Okay, let me just quick finish this.
I had an interesting conversation with Heather, and I have thought about it for quite a while. In the welfare laws, it talks about the town is required to provide assistance basically to anyone who presents themselves as in need and qualifies. And it very clearly says it's supposed to be temporary assistance. But yet we have month after month after month paying shelter costs, food, oil for the same spot, facility, apartment. So what does temporary mean?
The same specific unit or the same,
Specific unit.
what did somebody said at that meeting the other day, that their policy was 90 days or 60 days, and we don't pay after
That's in a
60
shelter.
days?
They don't pay more than,
But that led to a conversation about it was a matter of the town, the governing body's policies. As long as it was a written policy, then it, and I don't know what our written policies are, but
I don't either. But that might be something that we should be thinking about reviewing, because that temporary clause, because I think the town is the facility for the immediate need. Somebody comes in, they're destitute, they're going to be hard pressed to go to the state or federal government and get assistance. They're going to be days without. They're going to be cold, hungry,
Right.
and that shouldn't take place. I think that's the intent of the law, was because the town could act quicker. But I think we need to know what temporary is and put a description to it, because as things get tougher,
Yep.
our taxpayers are going to be spending a lot of money.
no, you're
You
right.
see this from violation. Bacteria in the water.
Oh, the coliform is up.
Now, but when you approve the manifest, though, you don't know who the people are.
No, like I said, I had this conversation with Heather.
Okay, all right. So there are some that are longer term.
Right. Joe, while you're up, you can start this down on your end. This is for Patty Liberty.
Yeah, this looks like a coliform test came back high. That often happens. And it is, yay.
Hey, John.
Good evening. Let the record show that Selectman Scanlon is present.
This goes in the FYI.
No, Catherine wants a copy. Catherine wants
Oh,
one.
you want a copy of the other? Okay.
We're going to ask Dennis, Catherine's going to call Dennis to see if she can get a copy of the,
I may get one at the next TAC meeting, but it'd be nice to have two. It's just the draft, because I know it hasn't been approved.
Well, we can,
We'll be working on the next one.
so the appointments,
oh, you want to go ahead and do those now? Okay,
yeah, you've got till 5.
okay.
So Eric,
Now, Eric is there. And now, Joe, the last email I got from Marge, who's the chairman of the committee, she
Yeah.
said that Janine Metenu
Metnin with an N.
With an N.
Oh, with an N?
Yep.
There's no N there. That she is still an alternate.
Well, we had this discussion, and I apparently have misunderstood. Janine hasn't been there in over a year. I thought that she was no longer coming. I asked about Eric Prue, and I thought the answer was that he was unavailable because of the times we had our meetings, and he wasn't going to be able to come. Eric Prue has since submitted an application for reappointment, which
This is an old
at
form.
least 3 of us have signed already. It's in the to-be-signed folder. That's Eric Prue. And so he's going to be reappointed. And as far as Janine goes, I don't know if Marge has talked to her or not. I signed up Arthur Damas, thinking that we needed people, which may or may not have been the case because I didn't communicate well enough with Marge. So I'm in a quandary as to what to do about Janine. But I'm in the process of trying to resolve the issue.
Okay. Now, this is dated today, now, did you give Scott Davis's to Cindy?
All I have to do is swear him in. I've got the signed
That was
paper.
last week. We did
I
Scott
haven't
Davis.
seen
I
it.
know, but she's
No.
still not appearing on the
No,
list.
no, I have not.
Okay. All right, but Arthur has been sworn.
Arthur has been sworn in, and his paperwork has been delivered to the town
So we
clerk.
have Eric and Scott to be sworn in.
Right,
All I got to do is swear him in and give the paperwork to Cindy.
Do we have one too many?
that's not counting Janine.
Well,
So do you want to make
I have yet to
Arthur-
see any paperwork for
Make Arthur an
Janine. I'm
alternate.
going to have to talk with Marge and Janine and see what they want to do here.
It's your entire committee makes that decision.
Well, then we'll have to wait until the next meeting, which is going to be a couple
But
of
if
weeks.
we had somebody who was acting as a member, we don't usually boot them out
Right.
without a request from the committee for a specific reason. So,
Who made the decision that there would only be 7 members?
That was back when it was originally created, Ken Randall.
I asked Ken Randall, I asked this board if we could start a recycling committee.
Yep.
And it was my suggestion that we have Ken Randall, and I was this one that said it should be a 7-member board.
So we'll have 7 full members and like 2 alternates? Is that excessive? I mean, we've never had that many people show up.
Tim is already an alternate.
Yeah. Well, you know why he's an alternate? I had to twist his arm. Because we have so many times when we don't have a quorum, that Tim being right down the hall, he could be a quorum for the purposes of having a meeting.
I think that, I think it's wonderful that people volunteer for the committees, and I think the more the better. I don't think we should just limit it. If there's more people that want to be on the committee, I think there should be more people on the committee. It's not like the planning board where it's a legal.
This is totally an advisory
Right.
thing, and our policy has been in the last 4 years that I've been on it, is that anybody who came to the meeting could speak their mind and chime in with ideas, and we were very casual about that.
Right.
The more input, the better.
Right.
Recycle committee.
They just can't vote.
No, only the
So,
members, the actual members vote.
Right. So I don't know if that's really, let them figure it out, and then we'll,
Well, this committee is the only one that, because they call me and they say, how come it's incorrect on the website? And I
That's
explain
me
I
again.
can't put it on the website until they've been sworn in.
right.
I'm going to get it complete this week, one way or the other, Joyce.
But all the other committees have been contacted, and all the other organizations. The only one I haven't contacted yet is Judy Tilton, who's chair of the road committee, because we received that gentleman was interested in serving on the committee, so I wanted to give her information.
Oh, yeah, right, John Barrett.
I just haven't had been able to connect with her. But other than that, they've all been contacted. It's just a matter of, getting them to fill out the forms and get them to the selectmen, and then they have to be sworn in and sent to the board.
I've got Scott's signed form, I just need to swear him in. Once John signs that form right there, I will take it and I will swear in Eric. I'll go to,
Emily and Jane Can you look that up? I don't believe that it's the chat committee that they're signing up for. I believe it's the executive committee.
There's no terms up for the executive committee. The executive committee was fine. I'll go to my original list.
There's too many lists out there.
Wow.
I am going to go back to writing a procedure for this process every year. There's just problem after problem after problem. So I'll bring it to the board.
No, there's 3 steps to it. Getting the volunteers to
There's a lot of steps
cooperate
to
with
it.
the 3 steps. I don't know where my chat committee one is. Senior Executive Committee, no one was up. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Emily LaPlante and Iris Iano.
This goes with that card.
Their
Okay.
terms were up in 2014.
Can you look at,
In chat, it was, said it was hard because I gave everything to Jane. Let me see, I don't know if I still have it in this one. Let me look at Cindy's. I gave her my list from this, the names that were circled. I know Suki was one of them, and must have been those 2.
well, I don't believe that, I believe that one of these, Emily, has to be executive committee.
She didn't say executive.
So,
She's up, off of there. She's up.
did this committee meet with the information provided by the town clerk
Yes.
and determined what these vacancies were and send a request into the Board of Selectmen?
No.
Well, that's the process that needs to take place. Every year before town meeting, we should be sending notifications to all the boards and committees chairmen
And that didn't happen.
that these positions that we have on file, and I would back them up with copies of the appointments, saying, this is what our records indicate, please confirm. And if these vacancies, if these terms are expiring, here are applications, please have them filled out for the Board of Selectmen to review. That should take place, I would say, in the first part of February, because some of these, or even in January, because some of these boards and committees only meet once a month,
They,
or when necessary.
and I know it, and these are confusing because Emily is up off of the executive committee this year, and she's only put in chat. So, if we're gonna put her on the right committee, she signed it, we need to put her in on the right committee.
Well, I got together with Jane, I gave her the list from Cindy, I circled the names that were vacant.
Then we
She
need
said
another
she would
form
go
for-
talk to the people.
Okay, then I need
But-
to get together with you for executive committee and get another form and go to the executive committee when we meet.
Right.
And get the executive committee for Emily and Iris then. I'll make a note of that. Okay. These need to be signed.
And then Bob was supposed to send me, the Conservation Commission did meet, and in their minutes, it says that they recommended that Bob and Helen and Chuck be reappointed.
Helen wasn't there.
Oh, is she right there?
Before you go, anyway, if that's what happens.
Now, she fills it out. We can sign it and actually swear in at the same time.
Put those over there. And then these, the other ones that you need to sign. But if you have questions of what they are, feel free to.
Okay.
This one we're putting on hold. That's the fire warden. That's for a tan.
Oh, okay.
Carry us through to April, the end of April.
the amount we usually end up doing.
Sometimes we don't have to do it this early, but we do, yeah.
So, and I'm going by,
And that one is for wood. Okay, next on our list is an appointment. Non-pub. Okay.
I think this has to go towards that.
I will,
Yeah,
I'm just letting it
the whole
dry.
card thing.
Yeah, I'm just letting it dry.
Oh,
I'm not sure if my ink,
sorry.
I will make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3. That which would adversely affect the reputation of, it would be C. That is which discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person. Roll call vote? Oh, second.
Yes.
Roll call vote. Yes. John?
Yes.
Yes.
We are...
I can do it if you want. We should teach John this anyway.
I know enough to be dangerous with those things.
Well, what you don't want to do is go right up and
I know. I watch those.
I know, I've seen Joe.
Joe.
it was red?
Yeah.
Oh. First, yes, I did make a
Right.
copy of what I gave, oh.
All right, make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to personnel.
Second.
Permanently, as they pertain to legal. Resolved. And Catherine seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I found the sheet that I gave Jane, I had made a copy of it.
Okay, so Jane, Cecile, and Emily, so they are up
And
for,
Suki Clark, I think, is down.
and Suki, okay. Then, I also have another name to add, which is Carol Stone.
I told Jane about Carol Stone and that you had her,
I have her paperwork.
and Alice Thompson is already on my sheet. Catherine, I did, I started this back in January.
Oh, did you want to keep that bid, by the way?
Yes. And then you're going to have a senior committee.
And we will meet with the executive committee, and then I will send you, because Tom is out, and I'm the vice chair, so I'll send a letter stating that these are the people that we voted on for executive committee for renewal.
All right, and I'll send you the updated, the corrected form. With John's name on it, so.
Okay.
All right, the other thing, I don't know, since I've been here, I haven't done this with Tilton. I've done them before. We have a road ban on, a weight limit on. And a logger has approached Dennis wanting permission to do a logging project off of Manville Road. And
Bond.
And he wants to bond. And before I talked to the bonding company, he hasn't even filed his intent to cut yet. Dennis has said that he felt that $10,500 would be enough to cover, but you would set the bond amount,
Yeah, we had.
and I want it to be a bond that we call,
Yeah,
not that it just automatically goes away.
that's right.
So we will call the bondholder and say, you can go ahead and release the bond.
That's right. Where is that? I wrote that ordinance.
What, it's one of our ordinances?
I wrote the weight limit ordinance, and I think there was bond in it.
What, who sets the amount, Catherine, on that?
Well, I don't remember.
Now, the other thing that he'll do is he'll take pictures of the road before, and he'll monitor.
Is it actually Manville Road, or is it off Manville
He
Road?
said Manville Road only.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It would help if I had the intent to cut. The only town road they'd be using would be Manville Road.
Where's the intent to cut we had in here?
That was John Bernard.
Oh, really? This is Pest House Road in here?
John Bernard.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's on the Franklin end, not the...
What's he doing up there? Is that his house? Is that where he lives?
He bought a big open lot there that's underneath the power lines, and no one would want to live there.
Okay, here's what it says. This is the highway weight ordinance, 2003. Private contractors engaged to perform work on behalf of landowners on weight-restricted town highways may be allowed, provided they apply in writing to the Board of Selectmen, who will impose reasonable conditions and may establish reasonable regulations for bonding and restoring the highway. Applications shall include the number of vehicles, all license plate numbers, the time period of the work to be performed, and a contact person. And then there's exemptions, but they're emergency vehicles or,
Leave that out.
I'm surprised it's not in Cindy's ordinance book. Oh,
I
he's
should
gone.
just scan that whole binder. Optical character, you can watch me do it. You can watch me do it, Catherine.
No, I don't just.
And that way you can just go in and type in Control Find
Oh, I like that.
Bond, and it'll all come
Can
up.
you actually go in and with the scan snap, can you actually go in and say, put it in this folder? Mm-hmm. And so ordinances, and you name the folder ordinance, and it just throws it into that ordinance?
I'm going to be making a suggested change to this. The penalty. Violations, this is $500. I know a violation is $1,000 per day, and every day that you're in violation counts as a separate day. That's the language we should put in here in the penalty. That's the language I got from the chief.
Printer worked, I'd jump up now and make a copy, but it doesn't, so.
You're welcome.
Where do you keep that?
See that space on that second shelf above the brown folder?
Yeah.
Right there. It says, Town Tilton ordinances. It's got my name on the front. Some, I don't think that some of the newer ones are in here.
That one. It's Adam E. Mock Logging and Chipping. I don't know the name of the property owner, and then I have the name of the insurance company. It'd be
You'd have that back. That's yours.
Yep. Okay, and then Joe wanted me to talk about the UST, what's going on with that, and they are exploring, they have an exploratory communication with the state of New Hampshire to see about purchasing fuel from Belmont, the Belmont Station or West Franklin.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And so the committee is looking at it, because what's happening is that the cost to maintain the pumps and put a cover over the pumps, it's just, I mean, the original life of the tank is 25 years, and we're already 15 years into it. So within the next 10 years, maybe even sooner, they will be thinking about closing it out. So
I thought they were talking about closing it out like now.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
Get out of that one.
that's what Joe seemed to be reporting.
There was a letter from Wayne Crowley asking the state for monies on gas. See that?
Is that a Brownsfield project?
Will take us.
It's an underground tank. Brownsfield? Underground tank? Petroleum money?
But they're looking into that. And then on Tim's, did you vote to do your borrowing?
We signed it.
We signed
You
it.
Signed it.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted,
Do we need to, I don't think we need to vote. We just signed
you
it.
signed it? Okay.
Yep.
And he's recommending raising the admin fee on the commercial haulers. And my
position on that has always been that when you have a fee, you have to have what's called a nexus, and there's case law on this, that what you're charging for accurately reflects what your costs are.
We can't make a profit.
Right, plus these are our taxpayers. And all we're doing is, yes, they have the benefit of getting our tipping rate at the incinerator, but they pay for their own collection, they pay for their own transportation, and they pay for their own disposal costs to get our rate. They have to be licensed by the town, we charge the haulers, and we get copies of customer lists from the haulers, which was proprietary. So I look at them as that they're our taxpayers, they're not there for us to make money off of.
So he's recommending $2.50?
More. So, I mean, I have no problem charging a fee, but I need to know that,
We're not making a profit.
correct. I mean, is it,
Can we hold until next week and make a decision?
sure.
And then find out if we're not making a profit?
So what's their current fee?
It's
60.
$3.20.
Right.
What the admin fee covers is, we monthly get an invoice from the co-op, and he has it all set up now. Where
No,
it's all-
per ton.
Oh, our tonnage is $66.80. The disposal fee is $66.80.
Okay. So you're saying that we can't charge them beyond the $66.80?
No, I'm saying
No,
we
we
can.
can.
We can, but if we're going to be increasing our administrative fee to process mailing the invoices,
Oh,
I just want to, let's
I
look
get
at
it.
that. What is our cost to do that? We
I get
have
it.
paper, we have postage, we have time on Catherine's time and Tim's time to process it, but they're our taxpayers.
Right. So you want to be reasonable on it.
Just because they're a business, I don't think, because they're already paying they're completely off our tax rate, and we're getting revenue from them.
Okay. So,
There just has to be some mindfulness to it. That's all I'm saying. If I were a business owner, I would come to the town, well, can you just, I mean, it's pittance, but I just want to know that this
Can I
admin
justify
fee is
how many
justified.
police personnel do we have?
19?
Oh, this is for their garbage. This is a true user
Care.
fee.
Cost of the town, their existence costs us tons.
You're talking an impact fee. This is a user fee.
I don't care.
Everything
It's a
should
good
be
thing
a
I'm not
user fee.
figuring it. It's a huge impact.
And the only reason another reason I'm sensitive about this is when I got my master's degree, my master's thesis was on user fees.
Oh, no kidding.
That and how to dismantle county government. Like, where would all the services
Boy, would I like to read that.
Where would the
I'll bet that's
services
good.
go?
When do we start?
I'll bet
And,
that's good.
And trying to identify what can be true user fees. That's why I was so happy with
Did we
Page
know
and
that
Throw.
before we hired you?
Oh, but the user fees are good.
No, the other one, about the
About
government.
county? Oh. No, in a few years, I'm going to change my party affiliation to Libertarian, I think.
Oh.
I'm becoming more and more of a Libertarian. That's all.
Should we wait a week and be sure that our, see, I have a problem with this because I think that I don't want to undermine a head of a department that's trying to submit a number here.
Yeah, and he's justified in recommending that. He's been wanting to do that.
Recommending it, so, but you raise a good point, and I appreciate raising that good point, and I'd really like to find that answer first, before we do that. Is that acceptable to everyone, or?
Yeah, I mean,
Postage has gone up.
let's find out what it costs us.
Okay.
And also to find out when the last time was we just raised it,
You
because
do it based on how much time it takes to do it,
Yeah.
Actual cost.
and we include, just like we do with the police department for the details, we include the vacation time and the health insurance when we figure out, because we,
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it's like, when we make copies for people, we charge 10 cents a page. We've never gone that,
That was set by a town meeting vote,
10
It's
cents
supposed
a
to be
page.
what Staples charges. I was at that town meeting.
They charge like 30 cents or something now.
We can't do that.
That's what it's supposed to be based on.
If they actually said Staples, What happens if Staples ever went out of business?
That's what I was wondering.
There's an RSA on that, too, that says that you can only charge what it actually costs,
Yes,
less a
that's
reasonable
right.
fee. So you
Right.
can't charge, like $3.
Okay, but if you look at your
That's
fixed,
91A.
if you look at your fixed
If we're
cost
charging
for
10
having this
and it
building
actually
here,
costs 13,
and you take a percentage and add that to, I mean, let's face it,
It
you
costs
can
us
take a
5. user
user fee and you can be really benevolent, or you can actually sit there and take every single cost associated to it. Or meet someplace in the middle,
Right.
and you can justify all three.
just to get a good idea, how
Yeah.
much does it cost?
So we just need
To do something for
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Make sure that we aren't undercharging or
even though I sound like it, I'm not out to
not
scout
to
them.
make profit.
Right, they're completely off our tax
They smile.
base.
Yeah.
And they're,
Well, we know somebody
They're
that
not
doesn't
sending
fall
kids
far
to
from the tree.
and they're taxpayers.
Okay, so can we put this on the agenda for next week?
Okay, and I did call Lakes Region Gutter about fixing our downspout, but
Yep.
they will be back in
That's one
next
from
week.
the alley corner?
Yeah, it flew off.
Where's is the cables just dangling?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's been kind of pushed out of the way.
It's out of the way, but Al went
I
out.
haven't gone up that way yet.
Well,
It's okay.
Joe came in and said it was very loose and the wind is gonna do something because it was off from the bottom, but really loose at the top. And then Patty came over from across the street and said it's in the alley, it blew off.
It was very nice.
So,
It was quite a wind.
they're on vacation, they'll come next
I
week,
lost
right?
some stuff. I lost some fascia.
Yeah, we had some stuff blow off. Shingles from the barn.
Oh, from the wind last night? That was brutal, wasn't it? So,
I gave my pig an extra bale of hay.
before we leave, I have to give you an update.
Somebody wants to give away a horse. 6 years old.
What kind is it?
For the end of the meeting, I got another email from Attorney Green on another matter.
Oh, it looks so much better when I
You
came
do?
back this afternoon.
Maybe
The Public
Just
Works
on
guys were out sweeping out in front of Town Hall.
Looks nice.
What a difference.
April 1 is...
What a difference. Looks so much better.
should have picked it up. You can throw it back down tomorrow morning.
Oh, I did get that one
Those
on,
garbage and litter.
on,
I was gonna say,
Tons of cigarette
As
butts. They
indicated
picked up
in-
beer
in
cans.
the-
I picked up some garbage.
help me with this.
it went to the both places, as indicated below, blah, blah, blah.
This is for the,
And then, will begin on April
I mean,
1st.
delivery.
Yeah, I got that.
and why is it so high? Delivery,
What is it for?
the pump, all filled, just one
Okay.
month.
Do you have it on letterhead?
It's just like $14.
Everything's all set.
No, it's not, went up to 79 or,
Yeah, that's for the pump.
but why did
All right,
both of the numbers go up?
okay.
Not doing January 1459, because they were
Is-
just filling it.
Is he
That's why
going
we're
to
filling it.
be,
I was wondering, the fee.
Oh,
I didn't know.
I know what happened
is
They
he
put the
going to be
heater in.
available for questions?
for it. There's a heater in there as well.
Okay.
That keeps it from, the lines, once you use it, we don't have a way of blowing all the water out of it.
Yes, he's
So
available.
water collects in the
Sandy
little
talked to him.
gauges and those little needles
He's
and stuff.
available.
So there's a heater, blower
Blower.
that's in there. That's why, it's also the pump, but you're also seeing electricity to run that heater.
Is there any way they could just get some heat tape, good heavy-duty heat tape?
It would probably cost you about the same. I run a heat tape at my house, and I can tell you, I unplug it all the time.
Heat tape and insulate it? Instead of heating a...
What we could do,
Sheet
we've talked
contact
about
heat.
it and discussed it, is we could build a tighter compartment to put over it in the winter, because we take off the insulation board in the summer, obviously. And it was winter when we were looking at it and going, actually, I was helping Bob Hardy put it together, and I was like, wow, we need to, in the summer, build a box to put over this that's more compact, more tight, and less space
Yeah, it would be a good thing to look at, because
to heat.
is that going to be like typical, but that includes pumping too.
That's a pump too. And there's lights.
Isn't that-
I think
That's
the
all
lights
set.
are on that too.
And the other thing was, well, this was probably before I was here, so, there was, like, the Conway Office Solution, so for the new printer, is that, do we bid that out, or?
He shopped it
He
out.
shopped it out.
We didn't
Yeah.
RFP it.
We didn't RFP it, but we shopped around, yeah.
He fills out a form that says, I checked on this model and the prices were?
He reported it to us.
Yeah.
Is that,
And then we,
that's all like in minutes or something? Because that should be a record, or fill out a form.
Oh,
to
we
show.
don't do that. We don't have that.
no,
He came and reported to us. I think he had at least 3, maybe 4. And the other thing is we needed one that did what we needed it to do, considering.
we have a
I mean,
contract with
that's-
the company.
I read what it does. It does sound like a very reasonable price for it, because
We've-
I've seen those, but just so that we have a continuity of, that everything is checked, 3 times, anything over $500 should be bid out, right?
Not all the time.
I can-
Dennis comes in with vendors that he doesn't want to
The sole
change.
source,
Sole source.
and we have a maintenance agreement with these people already on the other machine that's down there. We were using that other machine, bringing it to the PD, and so we're swapping it out. So he checked around to different places, and then came down, and then came down again on the maintenance agreement.
I've seen what Tim does with prices.
And so that's why we stuck
But
with the
my-
same company.
My concern was, do we have a procedure for everybody that does that, that just, if we're going to buy something, just list, okay, we've got 3 prices, 3 comparables, and this is,
No, because we
Reason.
don't formally send off RFPs for things. And sometimes it's hard to compare apples to apples. Sometimes you've got maybe a crab apple and an apple.
do we do purchase orders?
No.
So something like that, shouldn't there be like a purchase order become before the selectmen and,
No, they come
Sign it?
before the selectmen to get permission,
Right, they come before us to get permission.
and that's reflected in our minutes.
And that's reflected, yeah.
We make a motion.
it just my thoughts.
The purchase of that
everything should be-
copier was a motion by the Board of Selectmen. Make a
My
motion
thoughts
to
are
purchase.
that anything like that, we should have a purchase order system and do
Who's gonna
that
track
and prove
it?
it. It's, I've never seen things like that not done with purchase orders. And
What would
and
the
also-
purchase order do as opposed to doing it the way we do it now? Tim has a record of it, he can pull it up. I mean, it shows on the manifest, and it shows on, if the budget committee gets it, the expenditure for this month is the copy machine, it shows on that.
Well, so that's perfectly
purchase-
clear to the person making the purchase that it was approved and signed, that they did get permission to do it, and that there was some type of approval process that it went through
That's the motion by the Board
That's
of
the motion,
Selectmen.
yeah.
on anything, or is it?
We wouldn't
uncertain.
purchase something over $500 unless it was a motion. And that- in other
Except
words-
for some of the sole source things that Dennis does and some of the others.
But he comes to us at the beginning of the year
And
and said...
requests it.
And requests, "Look, I would like to use this vendor as a sole source for the year, and then that
Car
way we
parts
know...
or something like
Exactly.
that.
And then that gives him permission for that year to do that.
See, I see this as a capital asset. Do we track our assets?
Yeah.
for the
Yes,
town?
we have
So
to.
we have asset numbers,
Yes,
and
Yes.
when they go out, we do it,
yes.
and we,
And, yep,
and I don't know if the town depreciates assets.
Yep.
yeah, we
That's
do.
all part of our
Oh, it's all part of the
our,
audit.
auditing and
Yep. It's all part of the audit, yep.
Just, I'm not used to the system that's used here, so that's why I'm asking all these,
Hey, suggestions
make
are...
sure that nobody
Suggestions are
has a
perfect.
misunderstanding and goes
I
out
don't-
and buys
right.
something
Suggestions are
and
good.
You have to do that, and I don't think that there's anybody here that would go out and actually purchase that. Even the chief has to come in and, when he's purchasing the vests, And even though we know it's the same company, he still has to come in and ask permission for that. And half of that's reimbursed by grants, but it's over $500, so they have to ask permission for that.
Yeah, you need to,
So,
even to get money in, they
Right.
ask permission.
It isn't a perfect system.
Yeah,
We
my
find-
suggestion is
We
that
find,
that we should, anything that's just purchased without a bid system should have a purchase order over a certain value. And that was- We can discuss that or some other time. Think about it.
and as we go along, too, if you see if there's something that should be done, or a suggestion, or whatever, speak up.
I'll throw it
because-
out there.
Yep.
It might already be being done. Okay, so I signed.
not a bad thing.
No, it's
Yeah,
not a
I-
bad thing at all.
I was pointing out to Catherine that for the parks, was like 158 for the electric bill, but trying to keep it from freezing requires heating it, and I suggest maybe they could go to heating a smaller area, or heat tape or something, because it's a lot of money for, if you just go around the pump
But
once a month.
remember, that's
and-
not just for heat, there's lights over there. So you're running lights, you're
See,
running
that's
the
a
pump.
And then there's a separate one for lights.
Is it, there's
Separate
other
meter.
lights separate?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that is just
The pump.
that's just the pump and the heater in there, because that's all plugged in.
Because it's
over
almost
there.
as it
Over
is
at
to-
132.
132.
It's getting pretty close to what it is to run some of the other whole
How-
departments.
You know, somebody asked me the question, too, is when they approved the football program at the school, did they ever come to you folks and say, where are you going to use that? Where are they going to do the football?
There was some dialogue, I guess, because I asked at a meeting I didn't attend when I was out in December, I guess. But there was a meeting, I guess, that took place, and there was some discussion that, and basically what the information that came back was that the program, the use of the field would not change. Only the team, should I say management, ownership, would change, but the use of the field would not.
So the games and everything, but,
The schedule would stay pretty much the same.
so everything that they're doing now. But would they help out with the maintenance and stuff of it?
That's the discussion that I
Okay.
suggested should take place.
Right,
That, it's like we have to seed it every spring,
yep.
but they should be doing that. They should do more maintenance of at least the football portion. I mean, my feeling is it's maybe 50% of the field over there, because spectators are an impact as well. The ambulance that parks there. So that discussion will take place, yes.
They're still going to raise money through their booster club and all that.
I would think that they would have to.
Usually
because it's
football
like-
teams have booster clubs, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I would think that they have to, because you couldn't really run a
28,000.
program on 28,000. It costs a
Yes,
lot
but
more
that
than
was
that.
this year. Remember, they said that the Friends of Winnisquam Football were going to turn their coffers over to them. And that was
Yeah,
a
'cause it
question
costs a lot more than
that somebody was
28,000.
going to ask, but then couldn't because they called the question, was, so is that 28,000, is the cost of running that program the 28,000 plus
Right.
what's in their coffers?
Yeah, it is.
And is that the true amount?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it is.
Oh, I'm sure it is too, because it's...
So next year it will be more,
Right. It'll be a lot more.
yeah.
Right.
And maybe the Friends of Winnisquam Football will raise that, I don't
Raise some
know.
of it, right,
Yeah, I'm hoping they will maybe help out with some of the field
So-
costs. And
right.
There was a lot of information we didn't have, but I'm still glad the kids got their football.
Yeah, they...
Me
they've
too.
been trying- It's a long road.
I'm okay with that. All right, so, we've got the hauler's tipping fee on next week's agenda.
Talk about this cleaning
Next-
contract?
Next week, it's April.
At least it's going to be warmer. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that out loud.
I had some old business. Saturday, Sunday, I went by the farmer's market. No traffic problems at all. It looked great. And I think we were going to decide this week if we're going to...
Go the next week. I asked the chief when he was here if there were any problems. I didn't get any phone calls. Joe stopped in at the farmer's market. He said that there weren't any issues. He actually said did he say that he directed traffic?
Was that
At one point.
I saw somebody in the morning out there, but I was there 11 and 1.
That would be a contradiction of what he said.
I didn't,
Nothing. It was very...
I didn't actually go out there, but I heard the traffic flowed pretty evenly. So it's just, this week is the last week, so I have no problem
We
with it.
decided to...
We didn't make a decision one way or another, so.
But I found it interesting, as I wanted to ask, but decided not to, is why did they continue with Sunday if even the vendors didn't want it and there was such a problem? No money, having to pay that, why didn't they just cancel Sunday?
Probably because they always had it.
Commitment that they already
Commitment to
had.
vendors.
To vendors
Open.
that didn't want to be there in the first place, is what she was telling us.
Half and half,
Oh,
that's what the problem is.
But yeah, that looked good.
that makes sense then.
And a hearing for the detail fund,
A hearing for the.
expenditures for detail fund.
We haven't gotten any requests for
We haven't gotten
expenditures
any
from it.
requests for anything.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we already entered into, like, encumbered money that's going to be taken out of it for a cruiser yet, or...
We haven't heard anything about any
That
cruiser purchases, have we?
You know, can we make a note of that to ask the chief if he actually put in a request for the cruiser? Because we have to actually have a public hearing on that because it's detail money.
Right.
And we should have had to have put in a request by the end of February. We didn't hear anything from him because we would have saved 3.5%. It would have gone up. We had to be in by the end of February. That was the whole deal with him.
But that was for one vendor,
Ford.
right?
For Ford.
That
Or
was
just
to
Ford?
get that year's
But he could have
model.
gotten the Ford from any dealer
we-
and gotten that
No,
savings.
that was Ford itself.
Right, but he could have bought that Ford from any of the Ford dealers.
It
Or
was
did he
any
have to go
dealer.
through? Yeah, right, so he could still get his estimates.
Yeah, but there were no longer going to be 2014 Interceptors. We would have had to have gone to a 2015, and it would have been 3.5% more money.
Or hope there was a leftover by chance, but they usually make them by demand.
Right.
And the shut-off date was
Hey.
March 1st,
I vote
right.
no anyway.
to say, yeah, I want
already have
14
three.
out of 15.
Can we call the chief tomorrow and find out, Joyce, and see or Catherine, and see if he's made a decision on the cruiser? If so, we have to have a public hearing on that.
I hope he hasn't obligated the town.
Oh, the minutes. There's a change. Did you guys already accept them?
Yeah,
or-
we did, but what do you have? Because it might be already something we picked up.
Page 6, it says, I work in Concord, but it's Hudson.
Did you hear that, Catherine?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a...
You know, I was wondering the mileage.
I wish I
That-
did work in Concord, because I'd be halfway.
After I did.
I mean, I'd be there.
Be
And
Concord.
Yeah, Concord's
2
about...
miles.
The hooks at toll booth, I'm halfway to work.
Okay, so
Is that far south? Wow, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, it feels like they're
It is,
moving it
yeah, it
south
is.
every week, too. Seems to.
Do you have anything, anybody? Any more in the,
A nice
Just-
letter from
Are we going to go over
from the
the,
governor?
Gene Forrester.
Oh, Jeannie
Yeah,
Forrester.
saying, any
Congratulations.
issue of particular concern you, please feel free to contact me,
Oh,
which is great.
that's
She's
good.
good about
Roads,
that.
roads, we're gonna,
Yeah, that's the
Roads.
first thing I thought when I saw
yeah,
that.
absolutely, roads. was I gonna tell you?
I signed this Monday night.
Something, oh, cleaning. The cleaning contract, the RFP. Did we send that out?
That's going out.
It's gone out, okay.
And there should be a copy in your,
Yep, I saw that. And the RFPs went out, and we should be looking at that. Did we give a deadline on it?
April 7th.
Okay. All right. And that's April 7th. Oh, that's a Monday.
We thought we'd do as, the same as we did last year, as the committee will get them, look them over, interview, and then bring it to the board for the final decision. Narrow it down. Did we narrow it down to 3
Yep.
and gave them our recommendation?
Did you make a decision, did the Parks Commission make a decision on landscaping? That was one of the questions that I had asked to me. Okay. I don't have anything. I want to thank everyone that came to support the seniors in the pancake breakfast. This is the first fundraiser for the senior center. I was unable to make it. I was sick. But I thank everyone that showed up. We made a little over $500, which was great. Sarah, the Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS had a class for us for the automatic external defibrillator that Brad had got a grant for us and got us one, which is a CPR course and the defibrillator as well.
Oh, wow.
Course. Very, very good. I think that we should probably ask the fire department to get a grant for us to have one here at Town Hall. They have
never
one they have one at the PD, and we have one at the senior center. And, if it just saves one person, I mean, it's well worth it. And they got them through grants. If it's okay with everybody else,
Are you going to
I'll
call
give-
the new chief?
I'll call the new chief and see if he can put a grant in.
Mike?
I did already.
You did?
Yeah, he said he would give it to Tim and he would try and get one.
Get one. The training was excellent. Captain Hall came out and gave the training, and you paid $5 for, if you wanted a card, which is good for 2 years, and then LRGH sends out the card to you for the CPR and the defibrillators, which I paid the $5 for, because it's good for 2 years, so. It was an excellent course.
Do they do that evening or weekend, maybe some of the
He will,
boards?
if they will. It's not a service that they normally do, but they did it for this, up at the senior center as a community service. There was only 6 of us, and 4 of them were the executive committee. But I think it's important, particularly at the senior center, that it's very, very easy. It's not very complicated at all to figure out how to use it. Once you know it, and a lot of us know CPR to begin with, but it's kind of automatic.
Practice it and get an update.
Right,
and-
but they will come out. I mean, if you ask them, they'll come out, and if we have a group, if we have one at Town Hall, if we had a class at night, I'm sure that they would be able to come out in the evening and do it. It was very informative, very informative. So,
Telling you, a couple of 12-gauge wires with wet washcloths on the end.
Joe
yeah,
said he was going
Parazappa.
Joe said he was going to volunteer for the, did he?
No, they had mannequins.
Oh.
They had mannequins, and they had defibrillators,
That don't actually
that don't really actually...
just light up. Or-
Right, but then he actually pulled our unit out to show us, because they're different manufacturers,
Oh, wow.
and, I think we're gonna be done anyway.
I'll be back, this might be my mom.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure,
he actually took it out and then showed us what was actually in the kit, and masks and baby mask in different sizes and so on and so forth. So it was
That's great.
very nice. It was really nice.
Very important for people to know that.
I think that next week we should have a discussion with when the rest of the selectmen are here about where do we go from here after that meeting we had yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
What,
yeah.
because we talked about, that was kind of an input session, and it was really kind of a pre-meeting before we called in state representatives to see if we could get some action. The interesting thing in the meeting was none of our participants really were looking to do anything legislatively.
They kind of thought that it was
Defeative.
to do anything legislatively, but I think that a couple of them were willing to try it legislative, if in fact we could try a different way to do it.
Well, they talked about changing that residency requirement, that if somebody, steps into the town, they're yours.
Right.
But as I said earlier in the meeting, and maybe you weren't here, John, I think that was put in place because the state can't act as quickly as a local government can. It's just not designed that way, nor could the federal government. So if we didn't have that in place, and the towns weren't required to, there'd be people out there freezing on the streets, going hungry, and I'd hate to think what else. But certainly, we could look legislatively, and there was a gentleman here that suggested, and I think he's right, we should not overlook our federal representatives either. We're looking for some kind of partnership from state or federal government and reimbursement, whether that's 50% or, there should be something.
Yeah.
Something. Because they're not local residents. They're people that come to the state of New Hampshire, and if they land in your town, it's kismet. So, I think it's worth pursuing. But anyway, it's a discussion we should have with the rest of the board.
Interesting that a couple of people from different towns, one said, if you want to have this discussion about roads, I'm in.
Yes.
Want to host something here about roads?
Yes.
I'm in. I said, hey, I'm in. You name it.
Yeah, that's great.
We have another meeting, we'd be more than happy to come and help them.
So we should have that in our discussion so we can talk about what subjects we want to talk about when we have them here, or if we have them here. And then do some notifying. Did I think? I think. So, is that it? Anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yay. Nicely done. Have we ever had a 3-hour meeting?
That what?
A 3-hour meeting?
When do you start doing stuff for the plantings out front?
When?
Yeah.
Well, we'll start cleaning it up. I usually go around looking for people to volunteer. But we usually clean it up. We dig it out. This year we've got to dig it out, or dig some of it out and replenish the dirt. Do some
This year,
testing.
in honor of Clara, maybe we should put petunias in.
Marigolds, you mean?
Was it marigolds? Was it?